so grateful that you have decided that you wanted to learn more about how the family unit should be considered in the creation of international public policy. Now, I recognize we're at the end now of the Millennium Development Goals, and we're in the process of developing new goals for the next, who knows, decade, however long it might be. But we missed the boat with the Millennium Development Goals, and so let's not do the same with the SDGs. In 2010, as the Millennium Development Goals were being reviewed at the Millennium Summit at the UN, not one single word of family was included in the document that was created. And because the attitude that I gained from that was they considered the family a taker, not a giver. Now, I don't know if any of you were there and you can tell about that experience, but family was not seen as the contributor. It was considered the user, and there wasn't enough to go around. So with the help of the Doha International Institute for Family Studies and Development, I decided it was time to show how the family contributes and how important the family unit is in our society to achieve any of the goals that we might have. The purpose of the book is to take each of the 8 Millennium Development Goals and to show you how the family is key to the achieving of those goals and how the family can be used. And we chose to focus on the term family capital. Let's see what we have up here. The social science terminology, the combined capability of the family unit is referred to as family capital. The collective development of human capital within the family unit also contributes to the development of social capital within the community. We often refer to the family as the basic unit of society. As we refer to the family as the basic unit of society, in this sense, family capital is at the very root of all other human or social capital. On the right, you have this chart in my handout also. It's not really easy to read, but it shows the concentric circles. In the very middle is family capital. And these are all of the various things that can contribute to the development of family capital. And as family capital increases, it moves out into social capital, and then as you go out to the very outer edge, that's where the policy is, where the national laws that impact all of us are created. If you have a strong center, strong family capital, then everything else gets stronger as it moves out. Relationships are at the very foundation of family capital. As you have a marriage, that increases. As children are born or added to the family, it increases. And as these family members are educated and acquire technical knowledge and skills, the family capital increases. And as the family capital increases, the social capital within the community increases. So as we focus on the family, that's how we can improve our society. While some of the family capital assets of families are obvious, or I should say, while some of the families often have unrecognized resources. As many of you know families who have special capabilities that can add to the community and to help to make the community a better place. But the philosophy of family capital contributing to social capital is at the root of a recognition that family capital can help achieve the international goals as government leaders and NGOs recognize the resources and strengths of the individual family unit. Keep in mind that that's the root. That's where it starts. If we ignore the root and only concentrate on these outside circles, we don't really increase the strength of the community. We just try to fix it. If we concentrate on the center where it begins, then we can strengthen and improve the community. I took the 8 Millennium Development Goals. Again, we still don't want children to die young. We still want good maternal health. We still want children that are educated and women that are educated. We still want to have an environment that is sustainable. All of the basic goals of the MDGs are still going to be a part of the SDGs, so we still need to look at how can we write language, policy that improves these things. So although the resource guide that Sharon's going to provide for you later is much more complete, I did put in a few of those paras in various documents and treaties that would be helpful to you in promoting those particular comments. In fact, on the second page on impact on the family, the very top one talks about analyzing policies and programs that will impact family well-being, and that's from the Social Summit 81A and Beijing 58B. So having pointed that out, now let's go on and just look at each one of the MDGs and some of the reasons why the family is so critical. So first we'll start with poverty. We're always talking about poverty at the UN. In fact, I have to tell you that in my case, I spent all those many years going to international conferences, and I finally said, I just can't deal with the words anymore. I have to do something. And so my husband and I went to Kenya and Uganda. And we loved Uganda and Kenya. And we spent 4 years working with families. I was particularly concerned about the orphan problem, and we helped to develop a program for family-based orphan care, because orphanages are not good places for children, no matter how wonderful the buildings are. They need families. So we helped develop programs, and we went especially into one area, and we said, we'll help you improve your agriculture. In fact, my husband is an agriculture expert, and we were able to discover that the raising of French beans and snow peas, or sugar peas, was a product that could be sold on the international market. There was enough profit there that it could even be transported into the European Union and sold at a price that they could make some money at it, where they couldn't make money anymore at corn in Kenya. And so we helped the farmers to do that, and we said, we will help you if you will take orphans into your family. And they did. And we had a committee within the community that would monitor what was happening with these orphans and help them to have families. That's a whole long story. It's a very interesting story. But that was our focus, was to help the families. And we helped create what we called family development centers. Here's a picture of one in Mutatuni. And this combined family capital, you have the family capital of this family combined with the family capital from this family and others. They came together, created the Community Development Center, and together they were able to help all of them do better. And it wasn't top down, it was bottom up, and yet it was a wonderful experience in helping to overcome their poverty problems. In the next area, universal primary education. There's many things that families can do to help in the education sphere that is different than just government providing education. Many times in Kenya, while we were there, they changed so that primary education became free. And we thought, oh, that solves all the problems. But the children still had to have uniforms. They still had to eat. There were still things that needed to be done that parents needed to provide. They still needed schools. In the top, you see a picture of the families coming together to build a school. And there's many other things that can be done by the parents through growing food and providing it for the school in some of the rural areas that can help to achieve this success. Gender equality. Now, many of you may have seen this chart before, but if you'll notice the various types of family and the level of poverty. The highest level of poverty is a mother and children without a father or a husband in the home. And as you were talking about what works, as you'll see across the bottom, is when there are married couples, families. That's what works. And so we need to keep that in mind. If we want to overcome poverty, if children are born to a mother and father, that is the best scenario for overcoming poverty. There's ample data to prove that. It's not a hypothetical point of view, it's actual. Here's an example of a picture. I believe this is in Mozambique, where a woman just received her driver's license with the help of her husband tending her child, so a combined activity. Okay, child mortality. I want to tell you who will receive a copy of the bigger book. That book will save lives. The information that was prepared by a well-known international doctor who's been in many countries, the information on how to overcome child mortality is excellent. And if that information can go out to where it can be used, it will save lives, both in the child mortality section on MDG4 and in maternal mortality. We put more of that information in the smaller booklet from MDG4 and 5 because it is so valuable. I'm not going to spend much time on the child mortality one, although you'll see the information. This chart on preventions is excellent. But I'm going to go on to maternal health because of time. The 4 areas that impact, to the greatest extent, maternal mortality are all areas that can be helped by educating the family. If the family is aware of the things to look out for and the things that can be done in a case of an emergency, there's a greater chance of saving the mother's life or helping her so that she will not become ill. We haven't done enough of that, of educating the family to help solve the problems where they may be. Empower the boys and the men. Empower the families so that we can overcome these problems. I'm not going to spend much time on HIV/AIDS, except that that's the area where I know from personal experience you can make a huge difference. As we developed the Stay Alive program and took it also into Africa, and I'm not involved in it anymore. It's gone on its own and is doing a wonderful work. But it's involving the parents that makes the difference. You can teach children and provide all the things you want to provide for them. If you don't involve the parents, you don't make a significant difference. Again, it's the family capital of the family that can make a difference and save lives. The one on environmental sustainability, sometimes we get kind of caught up in the whole environment issues because sometimes the environmental people don't want humans to be alive. They'd rather just leave the environment pristine and alone. But my husband has been very involved in that area. He wrote the chapter in our book on environmental sustainability, and there's some excellent things that can be taught to families to help improve the environment and help it to be more sustainable for future families. So as we get to the end, this quote by Vinnie Santoro is just excellent. The policies, promises, and pledges pursued by the United Nations have focused more on goals and targets than people, families, and integral human development. Keep that in mind as you're dealing with policies. We're not so interested in goals and targets, but we're interested in the people and the families that they live among. The family as the basic unit of society is key to development. If you keep that in your mind as you're working on these various projects that impact people all over the world, the family is key. And we can't afford, both in financial and human resources, we can't afford to avoid the key, the thing that will make the greatest difference in helping to create a world where our children and grandchildren will grow up and be happy and it will be a wonderful place to live. I'm so grateful to all of you who give so much towards this important cause, and I pray that you will be successful in doing so. Thank you.